Sideline of goal. Late Widow's doing it. They're going to take. He's going to bring down Burning. Assault with a double kill. Dropping fast. Mana points there. He's still alive. Wait, seconds left. He's got one side. He's got a second. He's taking it. Oh my God. On three. They're all dead.
Welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen. We've got our transcoding fixed, and we are here in Game 2 of this best-of-3 series. We've got Compass Gaming versus Team Coast, and it is Compass Gaming one win away from qualifying for the Summit EU by G2A.com. It should be an interesting one. Let's hop into the draft as it's gone by very quickly here. Compass have used some of their bonus time trying to figure out what they want to do, but Coast, they're going to stick to what they know. They'll run the Death Prophet once more here, and they've run a fair bit of Skywrath Mage in their day, and they also run a lot of Centaur. Solon is that Centaur player we saw yesterday who helped turn things around. A couple of key fights and made the life of Coast Gaming a lot easier. They also pick up a old Viper here, nice lane dominator, and all around just a solid mid-game presence hero. Now, Compass Gaming, they are doing things just a bit differently. They're going to go with Brewmaster Wisp for their opening duo. We've seen Compass play a bit of Wisp here and there, certainly one that they have been known to pull out a time or two. They'll grab the Gyrocopter, most likely the buddy to be paired with the Wisp, tethering around and such. But here we go. Good old McGee. He's coming back again, the two-headed ogre. He's going to be ready to rock and roll, and I think he'll be in the position 4. I'm going to be a sad panda about it, but I'm telling you guys, Root Gaming, they've done this solo mid ogre, and it is ridiculous. It is absurd. If you give that ogre a little bit of farm, he gets a fast Ags, and he's cruising around. He can do some serious work, but he's still good position 4. The 40% Fire Blast at level 6 is just... Oh, God, the 40% 2x. It's a lot. It's too much. And we'll see how they end up wanting to use the Ogre here. But I like him paired with Gyro. The Bloodlust on top of him is pretty scary. Doesn't synergize that well with the Flak Cannon. Because, of course, Flak is just max attack. So you can get him out a little faster with the attack speed. So I guess it does make him a little more bursty. Still a cute little synergy there. But doesn't really raise his effective DPS all that much over. I guess it raises his DPS, but doesn't really raise the damage. Just the timing in which you put out the damage.
10 seconds remaining.
Anyhow, final ban's coming out. Compass will ban out the Wraith King, and Coast will ban out the Rhino. No Magnus this time around. Compass will need their other core here. It was probably their off laner. They could be looking at a Tide Hunter. That could be pretty damn good for Compass. Tide Hunter to set it up with your Gyro following through. A couple of call downs. Brewmaster comes in, splits it up, claps his Thunder. And yeah, things could get pretty scary pretty quick. Now, Coast, they'll need their second support, and I think something with a little crowd control might not be so bad. They are very light on the CCs once more, and that even may prompt Compass to grab a Weaver for the offlane. This would actually be a great game for an offlane Weaver. There is a double silence, the Skywrath and the DP, which is good against Weaver, but not the best, especially against a Viper. If they don't get a hard crowd controller here, like a Lion, like a Shadow Shaman, and okay. He's got one hard crowd control in the ultimate, but the Leafy Green Tree, yeah, not going to be so potent against Weaver, those early levels. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see an offlane Weaver come out of Compass. I reckon they'll be considering it. It worked very well for him in the last game, and this is kind of a similar flavor from Coast. The only real rinse and repeat stun they have is the Hoof Stomp. So there will be opportunities to pick off a Weaver. If so, hop in and Hoof Stomp, hit him with a silence, and there's only so much for him to go.
10
but
seconds remaining.
so much for him to do. God, I'm tying my tongue into a knot today.
5 seconds remaining.
All right, not too much time left for Compass, and ooh, they'll go with the Deusa. All right, so they're going to have the solo mid Brewmaster played by Alpha Ninja. Looks like they'll do probably an aggro try with Magooch and put Gorak in the solo safe lane. I think that's the best way I can reason it, but we'll see. An interesting laning situation for the Dire. They don't have an obvious offlaner, so I feel like they almost have to aggro try. The aggro try can be a little risky in this kind of a situation. This is kind of a weird one where you've got Ogre, who's great in tri lanes because he's just good in general in the early game. He's got really high effective effective HP. one of the highest in the game at level 1. He's got huge hit points. He's got huge strength gain, and he also has really high starting armor. So he's just great to go blow for blow with
10
early on.
seconds remaining.
Gyrocopter, pretty solid in tri-lanes also. Does a lot of AoE
5
damage. Rocket
seconds
Barrage
remaining.
lets you bring down those big tanky heroes. Wisp is the oddball out here. Well, he can be okay in tri-lanes, that defensive capability of the tether, and overcharging your buddy, giving him a little bit of attack speed. He's not bad in tri-lanes. The big problem with Wisp in the aggressive
for
tri in
battle.
particular is he needs experience, and if it's sort of a passive situation, you can't get kills. It's no good. But maybe we're theory crafting the wrong way around here, as it seems like KPG may not go aggro try after all. So it could be looking like just a true off-lane Medusa. So Gorak just going to go head into the off-lane, no boots with the Dusa. This is risky. This is bold. This is ballsy, if you will. And we'll see how it works out for old Gorak here. Let's introduce the rest of our rosters. It will be Alpha Ninja taking the Brewmaster. He's typically that mid player. Godham will be on the big tubby Ogre, and Arts will take that position 1 gyro with PSM. Playing the little particle being, the little wisp there, little IO.
30 seconds.
Radiant
to
side,
battle.
we've got Team Coast. It'll be Ape Mother playing on the Viper here in the safe lane. He'll be joined by Seal on the Treant Protector. It will be E Skills, ES Kills. This guy playing the Death Prophet once more headed to the mid lane. Same hero player combination we saw in the last match. The genuine crown of the Death Priestess. Ooh, sounds like some satanic Bible shit. Blonde will be on the Skywrath Mage supporter here. And Sullen, he's on the Centaur. Look at this face
Battle
mask, man. Look at this guy.
begins.
The Warlord of Hellhorns. What a name for an item. I also love the Centaur portrait. His head's just cut off. Sorry guys. Centaur's just too big. He doesn't fit on the pedestal. That poor Centaur. Big Brad, living up to his name. Brad Warden. All right. So, we're going to get into the laning phase here. Sorry, I had to tab out for a moment. I'm the lead admin here, folks. Multitasking is a priority. All right. So it is actually just going to be an off-lane Dusa. I feel like this is just so risky, especially without boots against a Viper. This is tricky. Both of them just denying up a Storm. He's gone Mystic Snake level 1. Maybe he can train enough mana from this Viper that he won't be able to harass him too hard. But I think Dusa will be in Strug City. Now, of course, if Dusa has a good time in the offlane, which she really shouldn't, it'll bode well for the Dire. But up top, Solon and Arts going blow for blow. Ogre and Wisp on their way in. First point in living armor coming out. They're trying to body block Solon, but he will get off a hoof stomp. Now it's up to PSM, but he's got no armor. Wisp needs to be a little careful here. Rocket Barrage is cooled down. Art's doing a lot of damage, but Blonde, he'll come in. He'll intercept a lot of it, and they will be able to scoot back to safety with that tether. So kind of an awkward exchange early on, and it is CST that have done more of the damage in that little back and forth. They will rotate Seal up towards the top line, recognizing he's not going to be able to do a hell of a lot to help the Viper in the lane anyhow. Instead, we'll just abuse that global presence and try and support his carry here in the or his offlaner here in that of the Centaur. So part of the games where I've seen Coast be very successful is when they prioritize the farm on the Centaur, or Solon has an easy lane, is able to get a fast Blink Dagger and get a lot of momentum. So they're going to try to prioritize his farm. He has 7 last hits. Off to a decent start, and Arts, he's doing pretty well himself. He's got 7 CS also. He has at least 1 point in the homing missile. I'm curious what build he'll go for here, but the Rocket Barrage, so good in these tight-knit situations. If you can isolate one of the heroes and the creep wave isn't there, the single target damage output is really ridiculous. So as we talked about, part of the issue with this setup is Wisp will not be getting a lot of experience, so level 6 will be kind of a long time coming. Holding my steady here in the top lane, as this is where the action should break out most often. PSM will get harassed by the Arcane Bolt, but Arts, he's pressing forward, thinking about a Rocket Barrage, but they'll make it back to the tower and won't have an opening. Let's check in on the bottom lane. Looks like 8 Mother picked up a double damage rune, so leaving the lane did give Medusa a little bit of time to pick up some farm, and they're dead even, 7 and 6 both. And I really would have expected this to be a lot harder for the Dusa. I really would have. But so far, 8 Mother's just sitting here farming away, and they haven't been able to slow her down all too much, using the tree line pretty effectively. I guess the Mystic Snake is really the key facet here, just draining all of that mana from the Viper. He will have a point in Nether Toxin, though, and Gorak will not win this man fight. He'll be forced back. And, yep, he'll just regen up, then head right back to it. He's actually out of tangos now. 8-Mother's still with a healing salve available. But up top, well, we'll see some initiation as PSM gets jumped on by Seal. And that could be your first blood, but no, he'll heal up. Instead, they'll go on to Seal, and the Rocket Barrage will be enough to bring him down. The creeps finish him off. They really want PSM, but Blonde committing deep for this. The Gyrocopter will finish him off. Tether across the tree line. Solon will be left all alone, and it's KPG that come out way ahead in this exchange. It's a 2-for-0. The first blood gets drawn across the team, and Solon, he's not out of the clear yet. Wisp needs to be very careful, as the Centaur can kill him. But out comes the homing missile. Alpha Ninja's here. The Courier will deliver the bottle and won't be able to get off the clap. It looks like Solon will survive. A little bit of movement speed burst. Out comes the clap. There's your homing missile. Solon taking a lot of damage. Fire blast to fly through. It's a dead Centaur, and that'll make it 3-0. PSM picks up the kill, and KPG off to the races. Again, 1 game away from qualifying for the Summit 2 European Division, and we won't get to see the whole recap there, but about 1,000 gold lead, 400 experience. All of a sudden, things looking good. PSM will get a lot of experience out of that, finds his level 3. And Treant and the Skywrath here only sitting level 2. So Treant, not the best tri-lane hero. He can be good if you've got a solid rotation that you can burst out with the Leech Seed to set up kills, but once he's got his stuff on cooldown, he doesn't really do a hell of a lot besides branch him down. Got him, will get initiated on, but you don't really want to go on the Ogre. He's way too fat. He's too tanky. He'll survive. PSM, he comes in to heal him up. Now Seal Kitty's on the run. Has a living armor for himself, but Arts is there with the Rocket Barrage. That'll chop down the tree and cuts right through that living armor, and that'll make it 4-0 in the first 5 minutes. KPG, Compass Gaming, they are really in great shape here. Now, to be fair, the farm is going the way of Team Coast. Now in the bottom lane, as Viper has returned from leaving from that initial Rune expedition, 24-14 versus the 9-6 Dusa. So this is the kind of setup that I would have expected. Now we'll miss a kill on Centaur up top. Sorry about that, folks. They'll dive it, and they'll get another one. So the safe lane try has been more than successful for KPG, and this is making up for the lost momentum in the other lanes. I guess the core thing to take away here is that Dusa's getting experience, and she's not dying. So she might not be farming. Viper is kind of getting free farm here, but she's at least holding her lane presence and positioning appropriately so that Viper can't find easy kills. And we may see Coast just give up on this tri-lane and rotate their supports out, and it looks like they will do just that as Seal moves down. But level 2 Treant, level 2 Skywrath. At this stage in the game, 6 minutes in, they're not so scary. They're looking fairly underleveled, and the other problem is the Centaur. So when you tri-lane around a Centaur, he's a very experienced-driven hero. Wants to find that level 6. Of course, he needs that early Blink Dagger, but if you cripple his experience, you better hope he's getting some pretty gnarly farm to get that early Blink Dagger to make up for it. And here, he's gotten neither. So now this Centaur is completely crippled. Him and Medusa are at the same level of net worth. The difference is he's a full level and a half, almost 2 levels behind where she is. So this is rough for Coast. They needed that Centaur to be their big momentum getter, and he's not going to be controlling so much in the way of tempos here coming into the mid game. Death Prophet has gotten good farm in the mid. Her net worth is pretty solid. She's #1 on the last hits, just a couple up on the Brewmaster and Viper. I guess the tempo controlling will kind of go on to 8-Mother here. He's level 7, found his power treads, going for a more defensive build with 3 points in the corrosive skin. But I'm already a little fearful for Coast as this game continues on. Is Gorak's one of these off-lane players that knows how to position himself well, and Medusa versus the Centaur. Medusa's in it for the long haul. She's headed towards that late game, and the fact that she hasn't died means she'll just be able to sit back and keep farming. The Centaur, he falls off a lot more quickly, and if he doesn't have the Blink Dagger to gain that momentum, his inverse snowball is exacerbated that much more. The Blink Dagger is kind of his farming tool almost, as it allows him to move around, pick up hero kills, and get experience around the map by killing heroes. And now he's just not going to be able to do that. Poor Brad. Arts finds his level 6, has Phase Boots Aquila, and this Gyrocopter's farm is looking damn good. #1 on net worth by a small margin there, up on the DP. And we'll see another rotation here up top onto Solon. Ogre looking for the opening. He found his level 4, 220. And now they'll just tether forward. Looks like they just want to try and take down this tower, but the Treant, he can't even heal it up. He's only got 2 points in the living armor, and it just doesn't do that much at these early levels. It doesn't last that long, doesn't absorb that much damage, and they'll just move straight into the tower. No glyph is even used from Team Coast, and it will be Gyrocopter that picks up the early tower kill here at the 8-minute mark. 5-0, 1-0 in total tower count. And it's looking good for KPG out of the gate. 2,000 gold, now 1,500 experience in their favor. As Gorek slithers his way down bottom, gets a bounty rune, and a nice little penny there, has his Aquila and his brown boots to boot. Ninja, his mid presence has been okay. DP has been getting the better of it, but again, he doesn't really have to win this lane. Just has to get a baseline of farm, find his experience, and he'll be well on his way to a decently timed Blink Dagger. He's been bottle crowing to much avail, found level 8, hasn't used a Primal Split yet, but hasn't really needed it. PSM, halfway through level 5, they'll move into the jungle. Looks like there was a stack of ogres. Ogre getting a little cannibalistic here as he takes out his ogre brethren, and they take down some of those stinky mud golems. Just trying to get PSM his level 6 so that he can start moving around. They'll have another stack. Who stacked up all these creeps? They'll get a triple stack here in the hard camp, and yeah, they'll get some centaurs, some satyrs, and some hellbears. And now Arts, he'll just use the call down, pops the flat cannon. This will be an easy creep camp here. He'll get a lot of farm out of this. Now very close to a BKB, essentially just a recipe away, and PSM, he'll find his level 6. So this is when that taxi service comes online, and you can kind of play this almost like you would a Spectre. Arts can sit around in the jungle, sit around in the safe lane, farm away, and then whenever a fight breaks out, the opportunity to pick up a kill, they can relocate in and get him a little bit of an assist, maybe a kill of his own, then just take him right back to farming. Kind of Wisp 101, but extra scary for Team Coast at this point. Viper appears to be going for a pretty early mech with that Ring of Regen. No big surprise there, and I think it's a well-warranted item, but we saw in the last game, mech is not enough to grab you momentum when you're behind by a pretty decent margin, as Coast are right now. So it'll certainly help out in their team fight presence, but will it be enough is a completely different question. Looks like DP will move right into a Yule, skipping the Bracer and the drums all together.
Is under attack.
So going for the squishier build, but right for the race car, needs that reset tool. Centaur will find some space in lane, gets his level 6 here at the 10-minute mark, so at least has Stampede. We've seen the synergy that he has with Death Prophet in games prior, and how good that can be. There will be a big stack here for the DP, so both teams being pretty efficient with the jungle. It looks like a quad stack, and DP will just spam it down with the Crypt Swarm, but still good stuff. I like that Coast are keeping their wits about them, just stacking up the jungle and finding ways to find some recovery for him. So with these stacks, putting kind of a dent in the gold lead, or at least keeping up blow for blow with KPG off this initial push, but got him coming in down bottom, looking for initiation onto 8 Mother. Here's your relocate in, and Stampede will keep 8 Mother alive. That'll get him out of the call down, but there will be a little homing missile coming his way. Gets taken out by the tower, and first relocation attempt from KPG unsuccessful. Arts will get left behind as Wisp heads towards the top lane, and looks like KPG will just group up for a bit of a tower push down here in the bottom. Dusa still hasn't found a hell of a lot of farm, kind of keeping up with the Centaur, but picks up her phase boots now to go with the Aquila, and still feeling okay. Again, an offlane Dusa, the fact that he hasn't died and has had a little bit of space to farm in lane is more power to you. KPG have the late game secured, so they'll be happy to at least have one of their carries at the top of the net worth chart. And, you know, Dusa can always retreat to some ancient stacks and that kind of stuff to get her a baseline of farm. Another tier 1 tower will go down. This time Arts will grab the last hit. So that's 2 towers down, 2 tower kills for the Gyrocopter. 8 Mother will throw out Venomous, or the Viper Strike there. And Ninja will whiff the Thunderclap. We'll blame it on the slow from the Viper, but he's got his Blink Dagger up. So he's ready to control some tempos. He's been really pretty quiet this game. We haven't seen Primal Splits come out yet, but now that he has the Blink Dagger, perhaps this will be the time. Solon's gotten a lot of space in lane now ever since they knocked down this tier 1 tower. 200 gold away from the Blink, so even though Centaur had this abysmal start, he's recovered well. He's level 7. Arts, needs to be a little careful. He's all by his lonesome. Seal will TP out, and looks like they won't go for any kind of initiation. Skywrath is still only level 4, and yeah, that's the big disparity here. The 2 supports on CST, so underleveled, both Treant and the Skywrath, and 2 supports that don't really do so well when they don't have that early experience. Treant, of course, he really wants level 7 to max out that living armor. That's when it gets really potent. Level 3, it's pretty solid. Level 4, it's amazing. Overgrowth also a quite useful ability. Skywrath Mage, same story. He needs that Mystic Flare. Once he gets that, they have a lot more kill potential. But until then, one of their otherwise aggressive supports just doesn't have too much to do. He's just running around trying to leech experience where he can. Meanwhile, got him. He's found that 40% chance for the ×2, and that's always scary. Scary. Oh, slow and steady. Only 5 kills, man. It's been a really quiet early game, and for good reason. Coast are just looking to find a recovery farm after the slow start, so now they're just trying to mitigate losses, minimize the bleeding, I guess you could say, and start their long road to recovery. And KPG, they look at this and go, well, we've got the late game secured board. We got a Deusa, we've got a Gyro. We're happy to sit back and farm. I mean, why the hell not? Now the Gyrocopter will complete his BKB, and Gorek, he's found a little bit of farm here. What's coming out on the courier? That'll just be a bracer, so probably going for some drums. We'll see an engagement break out in the mid here. Looks like Alpha Ninja going in. Thunderclap, Primal's Foot to get it started. Stampede flies through, but not enough to keep the Death Prophet alive. And down she goes. We're getting a little bit of lag here, folks, but now 8 Mother taking the girth of the rocket barrage. The rocket will chase him down, as will the boulder, and it will be a 2-for-0 on the 2 farming cores of Coast. Not a bad way for KPG to take this fight, that's for damn sure. Now they'll move into this tier 1 tower here in the mid lane. So 2 kills, but on 2 high-value targets, and that'll be a huge net worth change. 1,500 in their favor, and they'll get this tier 1 tower kill. Sorry, folks, we're not connecting well with the Stockholm server today. Apparently, LD was having some issues over on the game he was covering, so looks like the players are fine. I think it's one of those transcontinental internet cables. That's maybe there's some crabs nibbling on the line. Yum, 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 yum. Who knows? But KPG further in their lead now, that much more. Almost 7,500 in their favor, 4,000 experience. They're moving towards the Roche Pit, perhaps thinking about it, pulling out the calculator, doing the math, and they'll move into it. All right, Gorek will be in the front lines here, and he'll just tank it up. He doesn't have a bracer, so I guess he is rather tanky. Old Ogre, still no points in the Bloodlust, but still looking pretty solid. Picks up his Arcane Boots now. After Ninja, he'll start working on his Aghanim Scepter with a point booster and arts. He'll just go into a Dominator next. Picks up the Morbid Mass, so going for some sustainability in these team fights. So they look at Roche. They do a bit of chip damage, but don't take it down too quickly, and they see that Coast are missing off the map. And it is a 5-hero smoke. They'll press forward. Centaur showing off the Blink Dagger. Goes in onto PSM. Will get off a double edge. Silence flies through, but Arts, he drops the hammer to follow it up. They'll lose their Treant. The call down doing a lot of damage. The Exorcism's been used. They'll get a kill onto the DP. Gorek has no fears. 8 Mother off to the backside. Will take the girth of the Rocket Barrage once more. It's a 1-for-3, and they only get the Wisp. It's all Ogre now, boys, as Sullen. He's in some trouble, but will be able to hoof stomp Blink. Not the fight that Coast wanted by any means. It seemed okay at the start when they jumped on the Wisp, but they weren't even able to burst him down that quickly. And a 1-for-3, that makes it 10-1. And now KPG move into this tier 2 tower here in the mid lane. I don't know that they'll be able to finish off this tower so easily. Does have a little bit of extra armor, and there is a glyph standing. They'll be respawning pretty quickly here, but this is where it gets really scary. This off-lane Deusa is all of a sudden right around where that safe lane Viper is in terms of net worth. So they're starting to level out a little bit. And yeah, Boots, Aquila, Viper's going to go for a few value items here. Hitting the value town with just the casual cloak. Might be moving into just a Hooded Defiance rather than the mech. But Coast is just in more and more trouble. And every team fight they take like this, the less of a chance they'll be able to come back into this one. Eastgill's going for this very squishy DP build with basically no stats except the Null Tally and the Magic Wand. He's just not that tanky. I mean, they can chop him down, and there's so much physical damage here. This is the game to have a mech. Just having that armor aura, having that heal, it helps so much. DP desperately needs some armor against the right clicks of the Deusa, right clicks of the Gyro. Yeah, she falls pretty damn quick. Drum of Endurance now picked up on Gorek, so good old Deusa here. She's getting big. She's got those... She's just getting tanky in general, starting to hit decently hard. They'll move into the Roche Pit, and that'll be an easy Roshan, uncontested. Aegis of the Immortal picked up by the Gyrocopter. And looks like they'll scurry down towards the bottom lane, maybe looking for an engagement of sorts. And could possibly just pressure this tier 2 tower. I mean, CST are just not in a position to fight, so if they want to keep pushing towers, I think they can.
Is under attack.
So I'm trying to think to myself, what can Team Coast do to turn this one around? But their Treant's not even level 6 yet. This is the big problem. They're still feeling the hurt from that failed tri lane. And when you invest that much in an aggro tri and it fails so miserably, you're on recovery road for a long while. I mean, the Skywrath has found 6, so that's okay, but already the damage from the Mystic Flare doesn't hurt as much as it would have had he found this level 6 quite a while ago, but they need the Overgrowth. That's a key ultimate here in their arsenal. Overgrowth to lock him in place on top of a big DP ulti. Yeah, that's kind of what they need. They need one of these team fights to smoke up guerrilla warfare, but KPG won't make it easy. When you're this far ahead with the Wisp, you can't really commence the guerrilla warfare that well because Wisp can always bring in his tether buddy and turn it around, and all of a sudden, you're at a disadvantage. They will trade a tier 1 for a tier 2. They lose their tier 2 in the bottom lane and get their first tower kill on that tier 1 on KPG's side of the map. But at this point, KPG are okay with that. Stampede used a bit aggressively here. BKB used it. Solon that pops out, but the 2x comes out from Ogre. And Arts will stand his ground, going in hard. They will lose their Centaur and their Treant Protector. Now 8 Mother, he gets stunned up by the level 1 missile. They'll lose their Viper very quickly, and E-Skills, he'll get finished off by PSM's Balls. It's a 4-0 in the bottom lane, and it wasn't even all 5 of KPG. There was no Brewmaster there. He had a split, and he was just farming the mid lane, doing his thing. Now they'll move into the tier 3 tower, and we can look at the recap, but this is very quickly getting out of control, and Coast may be in position to tap out of this one sooner rather than later. 14-1 at the 19-minute mark. There shouldn't be much of a surprise that they're on the back foot here. They do still have their Exorcism available, but that's it. None of the other big ultis are up. Treant still doesn't even have his Overgrowth. Tier 3 tower will fall. Glyph has been used, and now the melee barracks exposed should be going down without too much more time to spare. Ogre has grabbed some value points of Bloodlust here, and yeah, that'll be the end of the melee barracks. Ranged are going to go down shortly after. And CST, they're just watching it. I mean, they know they can't fight this. They know there's a Primal Split available. Gyro has all of his stuff, but Rocket Barrage comes out. He gets caught inside of the Yules, but here we go. Ninja, Thunderclap in. There's your Primal Split right onto E-Skills. He'll take a 2x. Fire Blast to go down in style. Now 8 Mother caught inside of the call down. That'll slow him up. And on the other side, the Mystic Flare doing a lot of damage. Seal Kid will be able to finish off the Wisp, but it costs him his life. Gyrocopter picks up a double kill. The godlike streak for Arts continues. Wisp will buy back and just relocate his way in. Solon takes a negative earn charge. They'll bring him down before he can make it to the high ground of the well. And once more, CST just get wiped up. All that for the Wisp. They've only had 2 kills, and both of them been on the squishy Wisp. Poor little guy. They're picking on him. He's so little. Oh, bugger. But still an Aegis of the Immortal inventory of Arts. He's got 5,600 gold. How do you stop this Gyro? He's just so big. It's looking damn good for KPG, folks. This one is nigh unthrowable, it seems. 20 minutes in, 20,000 gold, about 14,000 experience. They've got a lane of barracks. They'll get the tier 2 in the top lane here, and CST are just, I really think they're just too far behind. Following those kills, Treant will at least get level 7. Finds his ultimate. They've got all of their ultimates available except Stampede. Still another 30 seconds on that one, and they'll just look to take a fight outside of the base here. They'll charge in. Solon pops forward, misses the hoof stomp on the Wisp. Oh, that's never a good way to start off a fight. E-Skills gets off the ultimate. Here's the Overgrowth from Seal, but is it enough? No! Seal goes down straight away. Ninja gets silenced as he comes down. It's the end of the Exorcism. 8 Mother gets dropped as well. It's a 1 for 3, triple kill for Arts. They've lost their Brewmaster, but the GG well played is called. Coast have had enough. 3-21. KPG just dominate this series. Both matches completely one-sided in their favor. And they will secure a slot in the Summit 2 by G2A.com European Division. So good news for them, and some congratis are in order. Woo! Compass Gaming. All right, good stuff. Just looking tight. Coast not on point today. They stuck with their Death Prophet, and they were just never able to make it happen. This game a little bit more straightforward, though. When you lose an aggro tri-lane, that tends to be what happens. You're in recovery mode, and KPG just played good old-fashioned tight Dota. Arts got an early lead, and he just never gave it away. Also got him playing a perfect game, 0-0 and 13 on the Ogre. Gorak with the offlane Dusa. He didn't even go brutes first in the offlane Dusa, and they couldn't punish it. They were too busy trying to deal with the safe lane Gyro Wisp, and that Medusa ended up recovering quite well. Had a full soul booster at the end of that game. Ouchie Wawa. Well, thank you for joining me here, folks. We'll have another Best of 3 series coming up next in about 2 hours' time, an hour and 45 minutes, give or take. So it will be a long break coming up. And Yes, the next series is, I've got to pull up my calendar here. Sorry. Should have had this open. Oh, come on. Our next series will be, why am I stumbling so much? You can do this. It'll be Team Lions versus either BBC or Mind Sanity. The BBC Mind Sanity series is still going on. LD is casting it on BTS2 right now. So head over there. The winner of that will face off against Lions, a.k.a. LeJohns, starting at 12:30 PDT. So that's about 2 hours from now, 15 minutes less. So 1 hour, 45 minutes. We'll have our next best of 3 and see which will be the second team to qualify for the Summit 2 EU. But I'm Zyori. I'm done for now. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you later.